Hello everyone, welcome to the next lecture on the topic diagrammatic and graphic presentation of the data, and it is presented by Shantala Kulkarni, Department of Statistics, Gokte BU College of Commerce and Science. In the previous class, the chapter is basically dealing with diagrams and graphic presentation. In the previous class, we dealt with the different types of one-dimensional diagrams, that is simple bar diagram, multiple bar diagram, component or subdivided bar diagram, and then percentage bar diagram. In today's class, we will see what are two-dimensional diagrams. Two-dimensional diagrams are nothing but where you are going to take two dimensions or two directions will be taken into consideration. That is, you may take length and width, height and length both together. So when you take two dimensions together, that is known as two-dimensional diagrams. The diagrams drawn by considering two dimensions are called two-dimensional diagrams. These are also called as area diagrams. In two-dimensional diagrams, both height and width of the bars are taken into account, and area generated by them is proportional to the magnitude of the data. Some of the two-dimensional diagrams are rectangles, squares, circles, pie diagram, and for your syllabus you will be studying only pie diagram or pie chart. Now what is this pie chart? Pie chart is nothing but you are going to represent your data in the form of a circular, where you have the freedom to draw the circle with radius of your choice. It may be 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters. It should be very much presentable and neat. And every section you will be giving a different shading or you will be giving a different design, and that you will be writing in a form of an index and representing. See, when pie chart or circular chart, it says the whole items should be converted into degrees, because the circle is having 360 degrees. So you are going to convert those values into degrees, and then those degrees, with the help of a protractor, you will be drawing the circle. For that, you have to remember this formula. To calculate each value, angle of individual component is equal to individual value divided by the total value into 360 degrees. So when you put this value or when you put this formula and calculate, if you get an exact figure, you write the exact figure, but when you get the decimal, you are going to approximate it to the next highest value. We will see an example where you will understand the best. Now, what is the example here? The following table shows the cost structure of Indian hotel industry in percentage. See, percentage means always the total is going to be in terms of 100. So first, what they have given: cost components, total expenses in percentage. Administrative, it is 30. Employees payments, it is 20. Repairs, 14. Food and beverages, 12. Power, 16. Selling expenses, 8. Draw a pie diagram to represent the data. The first step, what you are going to do here, you are going to make the total of this. Once you make the total, you will be using this particular formula. Angle of an individual component is equal to individual value divided by the total value into 360 degrees. Now, individual value means these are your individual values. These are your individual values. 30, 20, 14, 12, 16, 8. Total value is 100. Then for this, one sample they have given here, how it is being calculated. First value 30, then the total is 100. You have to convert them into degrees. You are going to multiply into 360 degrees. You get the perfect answer, you write it as 108 degrees. So every item, 20 also will be writing 20 divided by 100 into 360 degrees. If you are getting the correct figure, then you write it here, 72 degrees. 0 gets cancelled. Yes, so it is 72. It's a perfect value you are getting. Suppose you get it somewhere, you get it 108.26 or 28, whatever it is. You are going to approximate into 108. Take this value. Remember that. Similarly, they have done for 14 also. That is this one. 14 divided by 100 into 360 degrees. This value you are getting it as 50. Next, for 12th one, the next one for food and beverages, 12 divided by 100 into 360 degrees, you get 43. Similarly, for the next one, that is power 16 divided by 100 into 360 degrees, you get 58. It's here. And the last one, selling expenses, 8 divided by 100 into 360 degrees, you are getting the value as 29. Now these values you will be plotting or drawing a circle with different values. How it will be done? For this you need a protractor. So the diagram is here. See how is it represented here. Now you have the freedom. Now this is the radius, right? You draw anywhere the line you want. Anywhere you draw the line here. First you have to draw the radius. Then you keep the protractor here. You keep the protractor here. Now first one is 108. So you measure 108. Here in this particular diagram they have drawn the line here. So they have kept the protractor. The protractor is here. This is the protractor they have kept. I mean this is the line they have taken and they have kept the protractor, and from here they have measured 108 degrees. That is your administrative expenses. Next, employees 72, they have kept it here. You can keep it here, or in next line you can keep it here, or anyhow in any direction you can go. Remember, suppose 108 is here, then next you are going to keep the protractor here and find out how much it is going to be. The next line will be keeping and you will be finding, next line will be keeping and finding, next line will be keeping and finding the angle, and then drawing the different segments. And each segment have got different designs, and those designs you are going to represent here in the form of index and tell what these represent. This is how you draw. You have full freedom to draw the circle of your choice. You draw the circle like this, nicely big, and this is the radius. From here you start 180 degrees with the protractor, then you keep on this line. In this particular example they have gone in this direction. They have gone in this particular direction. See, 108 employees payment repairs, it is come in this particular fashion. You can go anti-clockwise, clockwise makes no difference. The only thing what you have to keep in your mind is the diagram should be neat, presentable and clean and systematic. That is the thing what you have to keep in your mind. We will see one more example on the same. The following data relates to the expenditure of a family per month. Draw a pie chart. What is given? Food is given in expenses 3000, clothing 1500, rent 900, education and medicine is 500, others is 600. So the first step is to make the total. You are going to make the total. See, you have made the total here, and then you have to write the formula. Angle of the individual component is individual value divided by the total value into 360 degrees. That is 3000 into 360 degrees divided by 6500. You are getting this value. If you get the exact value, you write it. If you are getting in decimals, you are going to approximate it. Next one, for 1500 you are getting 83, for 900 you are getting 50, 500 you are getting 28 degrees, 600 you are getting 33 degrees. So this total will always be equal to 360 degrees. If you all remember, in percentage bar diagram you were converting each and every item in terms of percentage by multiplying 100 to it. So now you are going to convert them into degrees. You have to multiply by 360 degrees. Now next you have the freedom. In this particular diagram they have done shading, different shadings they have done. You have the freedom to give design of any choice. It may be circle, it may be a stars, straight line, dot, anything. But one thing I would like to tell you all students, don't waste time so much in shading that you forget to solve the next question. You have to be smart enough in shading also, where you use the minimal time. Don't spend too much time in shading. It's only the decoration part. So keep that in the mind. I have seen children when in the last year classes, student used to spend lot of time in doing decoration part. Yeah, you should be very fast. Choose the diagrams or the shading in such a way that where you use less time and finish the task quickly. So this is how you draw the pie diagram. It's a two-dimensional. You are taking height and width together. Now next comes the most important aspect is, now with this we finish the diagrammatic, like all the diagrams what are there, how data is represented in the form of a diagram. Now the next session is presentation of frequency distribution. Now the frequency distribution will be presented in the form of graph. There are many ways of presentation of frequency distribution in the form of graphs. Some commonly used graphs are what you are going to study here in PUC1 syllabus is histogram, frequency polygon, frequency curve and ogives. From histogram you can locate mode, and from ogives you can locate median. This can be a 1 mark question, children. Remember, most of the time which measure you can locate graphically through histogram, that is mode, and which measure you can locate graphically through ogives, is median. So remember that, and they are also very easy. The best is please take a graph book and solve the examples to perfect yourself. Now we will see one by one what are these different types of graphs. So first we are going to deal with histogram. What is histogram? Histogram is constructed for a continuous frequency distribution. Now what is a continuous frequency distribution means the class intervals 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40 when the values are in a continuous form. See 20, 20, 30. This is called as a continuous frequency distribution. In the examples, if it is not continuous, you are going to make it continuous. For example, 0 to 9, 10 to 19. This is not continuous. It is discrete. It is a discrete frequency distribution. So you will have to change this in this form and then make it a continuous one. Histogram is constructed for a continuous frequency distribution. A histogram is a set of adjacent rectangles whose height and width are proportional to class frequency and the width of the class respectively, such that area of the histogram is proportional to the total frequency. Here you have to keep certain things in your mind. And what is that? If the class intervals are not in equal width, then you have to calculate frequency density. I hope that frequency density part is being taught to you all. If it is not, we will do it, not to worry. And then once along the x-axis you will be plotting the class intervals, and along the y-axis you will be plotting the frequencies. And from histogram, mode can be obtained by joining the upper vertices of the tallest rectangle to the opposite upper vertices of the rectangles adjacent to it. Then from the point of intersection of these diagonals, we draw a perpendicular line to the x-axis. The point at which the perpendicular line touches the x-axis, that is the value of the mode. This theory part will be understood best when we actually solve an example on histogram and when we see how histogram or how mode is calculated from histogram. In this today's class, I will solve a very simple example of histogram. What is the first example? Draw a histogram for the following data. First thing you have to check the continuous class interval. Yes, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. If it is not continuous, you are going to make it continuous. Then frequency 13, 17, 15, 13 and 10. So these are the frequencies, these are the class interval. You have to draw these best on the graph sheets. This is your x-axis, you are representing your class intervals 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. And the frequencies here, how the scale is taken, the highest frequency here is 17. So you can take that in the form of, in this particular example they have taken it as 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 and 18. So for the first value, that is for 0 to 10, the frequency value is 13. So that much only this width is going to be. This 0 to 10 is the width and here 13th is the marking you are going to do here. Correct? So this is the first one. Adjacent means, see, all the lines are touching, there is no gap, there is no gap. This is how you draw the histogram, this is how you draw the histogram. Similarly, for 10 to 20, the value is 17. You are drawing it as here 17. Next, for 20 to 30, the value will be drawing this particular diagram here. For 20 to 30 it is 15. This is how you draw this particular thing. Then for 30 to 40, it is 13. 13 is marked here. See. Then the last one, 40 to 50, it is 10. You will be drawing this, and this is called as histogram. In today's class, only one simple histogram I am doing. In next class, I will teach you all. And yeah, very important, see, the scale is marked here. X axis 1 centimeter is equal to 10 units. Y axis 1 centimeter is equal to 2 units. It's very important. And you have the freedom to take the unit of your choice. Of course, your choice means looking into the size of your graph sheet and looking what the data is, and see that you fit it systematically. That is, you have the freedom to do it, and do it in a proper way. In next class, we will see the different types of histograms if discrete frequency distribution is given, how the class interval has to be made continuous, then if the class width are not equal, you have to calculate the frequency density. All those we will see in the next class. So in today's class, what all we have dealt with? We dealt with the two-dimensional diagrams, and we saw examples on the same, that is pie chart. So please practice the examples from the textbook. The more you practice, the more perfect you are going to be. And also under graphical representation, we just saw a simple example on histogram, and next class we will be dealing with more. So for today's class, it's done. Thank you.